Hey guys and girls, how are we? It is Birchy here, and today I'm doing a live stream for you all. A little bit of background noise, a little bit different, and yeah, just let's get into it. So if I can just see as you guys tune on live that you can hear me, you can see me, and smash up those likes, and we'll start getting into it. Cool, awesome. Seeing some likes coming through and all that. So thanks a lot for tuning in tonight. A little bit of a change of scenery. I'm on the road. I'm actually in Broadbeach in the Gold Coast at the moment. Hence a little bit of the lights and stuff like that out in the background. I was going to go to the Blink office, but it's about 15 minutes away from here, 20 minutes away from here, and I was like, I'll just do it on the balcony, something a little bit different, and nice and intimate chat for our Tuesday night live. So yeah, if you hear some noises, you might hear some trams in the background, you might hear cars every now and then, you might hear a motorbike or something like that. Don't be alarmed. So today I'm going to be discussing a really cool topic, and my topic for discussion today, I'll read the heading again. Where is it? I've got heaps of news articles. I've printed everything out here myself, and it's going to be a blast. But where are we? Topic for discussion today is doesn't even have it on here, but the topic was: can you buy properties for $200,000 still? Where are those properties? And I feel like when I put a post up about cheap properties, that everyone goes nuts. They go either, oh yeah, great, I want to buy some of those cheap properties, or you're full of shit, this is a scammer, you can't buy property for that price, all of these sort of things. So today I'm going to be unboxing that, unpacking that, talking about what I'm seeing out there in the marketplace, and loads more. So this is a really good property-centric Facebook Live that we're going to see. I'm going to be talking about some live examples. I've got my trusty laptop here, and I've got heaps of examples that I can revert back to, and we can pull apart some real live deals that have been happening of recent times. So before we get started today, I have a few charts which I want to go through, which are very important. Right? So this one here, I posted this in Birch feed the other day. This here is the inverted yield. This is the yield curve. This is the 2 month over the 10-year yield curve. So that is the yield curve there. So when you see it under zero, it's called a thing called a negative yield curve. And in 2019, it actually did go under, but no one realised it, and then it bounced back up because they did a thing called they injected liquidity into the repurchasing agreement market, the repo market, which is what caused that to take off. So we've seen here, this here is the GFC back in 2008, 2009, or 2007. It happened about 18 months after the yield curve inverted. Basically liquidity drained out of the market, and that's what caused the GFC. And then they had to reverse course of monetary policy, and as they reversed course on monetary policy, you can see within 12 months of it going under, this grey column is a recession, which was the GFC. And that was 15 years ago. And I know a lot of you folks here watching today, 15 years ago, you would have been toddlers or at daycare or something like that, but makes you feel old, right? But looking at this area, that's good, right? So what do you take out of these charts, and what do you take out of what's happening out there in the money markets? This here is the alarm bell. So I took this off a George Gammon video the other day. And I actually had a video this week. If you haven't seen the podcast last week, the No BS Virtue podcast, I had a very special guest, Maneko64, Mario Maneko. He fantastic. He gave me lots of time, and it was really, really lovely to have him on the show. So I'm going to try and get George Gammon on, Lynette Zhang, and a lot of the Peter Schiff, Gerald Salente, Robert Kiyosaki. I'll get these guys on. My team are reaching out to them to get them on board to chat. So keep an eye out on there and make sure you tune into the No BS and Birchie podcast. But this here was from a George Gammon video where it's now in 2023. And because of what they've done, they took all the liquidity out of the market and then it broke in 2019. And someone the other day, Jane, sent me a text saying, Nathan, I watched your Raw and Uncut video series on YouTube the other day and you were bang on, you were way before your time. You would have sounded stupid back then, but you're really before your time. I talked about it happening here. They patched it through Corona. You can see here we've got a decade of crashing economy here. It hit a point here where it actually went under. It's not registered on the chart, and they put all this liquidity in the market. This here, the inversion that has occurred, is far more greater than what occurred in 2009, which caused the global financial crisis of 2009. This is what I was talking about back in 2018, and this is our friend. Right? This is our friend. It's not a friend for a lot of people, but it's a friend for those who are smart, who are prepared, and understand how these things work. So, looking at this here, this is an inversion. This is far greater than the GFC throughout of the last, I think it was the last like 30 recessions, like 27 of the recessions preceded after an inverted yield curve, and that was a little inverted yield curve, which caused the GFC. We've now got a massive one, right? What they have done is completely decimated the economy. No one saw it happening in 2018. No one saw it getting patched together. I was the crazy guy on Facebook who was making videos talking about this in real time. It's like saying, hey, there's a plane about to crash into the building over there. This overdoes it, but there's a plane going to crash into the building, and we've talked about it, and then you go, wow, the plane just crashed in the building. We can see this happening with the writing on the wall. So, with a really important chart to understand, the inverted yield curve is fantastic for everybody. Takes me on to something else, right? Like people are going, Nathan, how's the Gold Coast going, right? How's everything here? I went to the Blink office today, and this was the funniest thing, right? I don't eat like Pizza Hut and Macca's and KFC anymore. I used to. There was a time when I used to eat a lot of this stuff. But I was like, they wanted pizza, so I went and got pizza. And I went onto the Pizza Hut website and trying to order it for delivery, ordered like a dozen pizzas or something. And I went to go pay, and I was like, shit, I don't have my cards on me. I've got cards there. And it had an option for PayPal, right? I was like, oh, well, I've got cards stored in PayPal. So I went into there. And then it had on there that I could break my order up into 4 repayments to pay for lunch, right? I'll say that again. So I ordered some pizza from Pizza Hut for the team, and then when it happened, when I went to go to pay, you can break the order down. I don't know what KFC does. I don't know what Macca's does. But if people are so fucked, they have to do Afterpay or PayPal Afterpay, buy now, pay later. It's not even your credit card. It's a credit card for a credit card. Oh, I just had a little laugh with that because it was pretty funny. So, I've got a property clock here. I'm going to share with you guys a little bit later. And just one thing, like on the Gold Coast here, right? Just to get the real excitement of tonight's conversation. So I can see there's a lot of people tuning in. The conversation today is about where and how can you find properties in the current climate that are under 200 grand. People don't think it's possible. People write on my posts and the B.Invested posts, oh, you're a scammer, you can't buy these deals, whatever. They happen every day. Last month I bought over 100 properties for investors in the current market, and I'd say 70% of them would have been under 200, 250k mark. So they're still out there. So I'll be talking about that. But something sad, right? Something sad here on the Gold Coast. Colin, you know it's possible, mate. You know it's possible. Congratulations again, right? So something sad, right? Here I'm on the Gold Coast. And a lot of people write to me when I'm talking, they're like, oh, Birchie, yeah, you must live on the Gold Coast, right? I'm like, no, I live in Sydney, right? But the Gold Coast, why do people think they'll live on the Gold Coast? The reason being is that I bought so many properties on the Gold Coast. I used to make videos for almost a decade of me out on the road in the Gold Coast, sharing with you guys a property I bought, a rent I'm doing, all that sort of stuff. And I bought everything here when the market was completely and utterly fucked. Everyone hated it. It was, they'd spit on it, right? That was the market. But suddenly everybody, the property was buying for 200 grand are now 600 grand. The house prices are now 800 grand. Everybody wants to come here, but it'd be stupid to be buying here right now. There's, maybe out of 100, I might buy 2 properties out of 100 here, but it's very few and far in between, not like how it used to be, which is funny as to why I'm going to talk about the property clock here, right? So when I'm here, I actually feel like now it's something different, right? I don't have any business to do here, right? I've got all my rents I'm pushing up. We've got thousands of properties we bought here. You guys that are watching here have made millions of dollars. I've probably made billions of dollars worth of profit for you guys in the community. Billions, B-I-L-L-I-O-N-S with a B at the start, like Birchie's Billionaires. The amount of billions of dollars that we've created here on the Gold Coast, amazing, right? But the deals don't stack up like they used to here. So it's not like I can just go, okay, I'm cool, I'm here, I'm going to buy 50 properties today and we'll make them all happen. The market has gone up so far, but the deals are still out there. There's so many markets within the country that we're buying in right now that within the last 3 to 6 months have gone up by at least $50,000. Like, and when I say 50 grand, it's like, oh, 50 grand, the property's gone up by. I mean like 150 grand going to 200 and 200 going to 250. Those markets are going up right now, just like the Gold Coast has done. So they're still very, very clearly out there. And I'm going to share with you some of the sort of numbers that we're picking up in the current market. But before I do that, we've got lots of news articles here, right? So I'm going to read through some of them and just have a little bit of a laugh. So inverted yield curve so far, amazing, tick, wherever that, I threw it down on the ground here. People using PayPal and getting 4 easy payments to pay for your pizza. You're fucking kidding me. Here we are. Global bank grim interest rate warning. If we go back, and I think there's a lot of value in things that I said 5 to 6 years ago, because I was talking about very controversial things back in the day, but they seem like baby things now, right? I didn't. It was like I was coming out of the closet as a doomsayer back in the day, right? I was the only person in the market saying, hey, it was very softly spoken about. I wasn't as aggressive and as jovial as what I am today, because everyone was like, you're a dickhead, Nathan. But the things that I talked about, they're very relevant now. And I said at one point that we would see the central banks around the world go bankrupt. And I don't know if I said it on the 10 hours of webinar that I gave for free to everybody, or if I said it in the 100 hours of mentoring program I did for everybody. They were similar videos to this, but they were like 5 years ago, and they were like very before the action actually happened. And I said that would see the IMF, the central banks would go bust, and would see the IMF come out and have to bail them out with a new currency, because we'll lose that currency. And here we are in 2023, currencies are dying, central banks are dying, banks are dying, and this is a global bank grim interest rate warning. Right? How can you have the interest rates go up? We've seen a trucking company, I think it's called Yellow Trucks in America. I think it's called Yellow is the brand of truck. It's like the Linfox here in Australia, or whatever. It's the USA's largest distribution network of trucks. It's like Star Trek, Linfox, those companies. These guys went bankrupt this week, right? And they said that they couldn't, the reason why they went bankrupt is that they couldn't raise more capital, right? If you're a developed business, you shouldn't need to be raising capital constantly. You should be having a profitable business. But these businesses are not profitable, right? So they've pushed up interest rates, have created inflation, they've printed out all this money. Now we've got the corporations dying, which I talked about 3 years ago when I said zombie companies and that they'll start blowing up like they are now, and everybody's super funds connected into them, whatever. But we're now sitting at a point where what happens to all those people that don't have a job? The truck drivers, the distribution people, whoever it is that's working for these businesses. If the business goes broke, what happens to their jobs? And there's a bit of a flow-on effect which will happen all around the world. So I don't understand when we're starting to see articles like this, right? Because the chart's still a different story. Wow, my hair looks grey when I sit that photo in the light, in news set to further break the hearts of mortgage holders across the country, the world's central bank is urging more interest rate hikes, arguing the world economy is at a crucial point as countries struggle to rein in inflation. I'm just going to move this in for a second, move forward a little bit, that's better. So they're now calling the world central bank, right? We never saw beforehand, you just see the Central Bank of Australia, the Central Bank of Canada, the Central Bank of US or China or wherever. But now we've got here the world central bank is urging more interest rate rises, arguing the world economy is at a crucial point as countries struggle to rein in inflation. How can you've now got a deflationary, we've got an inflationary depression. And that's a word that no one even knew what inflation was, let alone the word hyperinflation. But now we've got an inflationary recession where everyone's got so much money to spend, but they're broke as fuck, and businesses are folding because of this. Despite of the relentless rise in rates over the past 18 months, inflation in many top economies remains stubbornly high, while the jump in borrowing costs is triggering the most serious banking collapses since the financial crisis 15 years ago. The Bank for International Settlements, which is a BIS, it says here the IBS, that's someone's gut going bust, but it says, it's funny, it says it here, it says the IBS, it's not IBS, it's the BIS, the wrong collapse there, right? So it says the Bank for International Settlements, umbrella body over central banks, say governments across the world need to stay on course. Stay on what course? What is the course? What is the agenda here, right? And who says here? It says the governments across the world need to stay on course. Is it the government that controls the interest rate, or is it the central bank that controls the interest rate, right? Which is very clouded here, right? Because it doesn't sound like these guys understand what they're talking about in the news, and it doesn't sound really, you read this and you could get scared. The global economy is at a crucial junction. Stern challenges must be addressed. The BIS General Manager said in a speech launching the organisation's annual report released over the weekend. The time to obsessively pursue the short-term growth is past. Monetary policy must now restore price stability. Fiscal policy must consolidate. The central banks may think that they've done enough, only to find out that they need to tighten further. High inflation could persist. In addition to inflationary pressures already in the system, new ones could emerge. Wow, so now they're talking about hyperinflation. If you couldn't think buying a hamburger at $20, getting a side of chips and a drink for $10 extra. Like, I went and got, just on my journey, I've been driving for a bit, and on my journeys I've got a burger one day from a nice cafe. I'm sure it's full of seed oils and all those bad things, but anyway, it was $20, like $17 for a burger from a cafe. And they go, do you want it in a combo? And I thought, I'll drink like a little bit of fizzy drink and throw it out and some chips. And I was shocked. I spent like $50 on getting a juice and a water, and I was like, you're kidding me, right? And they charged $10 for a drink and chips. Anyway, but it's going to get worse, guys. It's going to get worse. The Reserve Bank has lifted interest rates at 12 of its 13 meetings, taking the cash rate from 10 basis points to 4.1% this month in a bid to settle inflation, which is currently at 7%. If you ask me my view, I said that would be at the end of financial year would be at a point where they will have to force monetary policy backwards. And we've seen that since that point, no increases. Who knows? I like to predict things. I think I'm right a lot of the times, but obviously this time I'm not right. And how far will they go? I believe, and I'm very, very confident that it doesn't matter anymore because the fundamentals off the table. They should push interest rates up further, right? My team last week had bets, and they're like, I hope interest rates go up, right? It'd be really cool if they do, right? But yeah, it's interesting time. Go on to read this next article, which is about China, right? And, we live in a global economy, so we should be looking at these articles. Full-time kids. China's devastating crisis as youth unemployment rate is understood to have hit 47%. 47%, right? Yes, I'm in Broadbeach. Folks. I'm in Broadbeach for the night. So 47%. The youth in China, 47%. Insane. Unemployment. China is facing a shocking economic and social crisis. How can we have an inflationary environment when no one's employed? It's fake. It's made up. Just like the whole economy was. Just like everybody's wealth was. Right? This is a wealth transfer, and the currency is dying, and we will end up in a hyperinflationary depression, right? A depression because people can't afford shit. The reason why they can't afford it is because there's just so much money sloshing around that their money has lost all its value. I don't even think it's something you could Google. I don't even think it's something that has been written in history books beforehand. There has been cases of it, isolated cases, but this is very different. But now we've got China, the youth of the world, the youth of the nation, right? In China, the emerging economy, the biggest economy out, 47% unemployment for the youth. And it says here, on Monday, this the nation was facing new difficulties and challenges as its post-illness recovery fizzles, and amongst the dismal figures released, there is only one statistic that jumped out. Youth unemployment jumped to a record 21.3%, up from 20.8% in May. The problem may be much bigger than the official data suggests. Zhang Dandan, an associate professor at Peking University, it's funny, Peking Duck University, wrote in an opinion piece last week that for news outlets Caijin, that if 16 million people are lying flat at home or relying on their parents were included, then they would not actively be looking for work. And the unemployment rate for youth could have been as high as 46.5% in March. They are full-time kids. The crisis is so bad now that there is tens of young Chinese people being paid by their families to stay at home. Litsky Lee, 21, told CNN she gave up her job as a photographer and now spends her days grocery shopping for her family in the central city of Laoyang and caring for her grandmother who has dementia. Her parents pay her a salary of $1,250 a month, which is a good middle-class wage in her area. The reason why I'm at home is because I can't bear the pressure of going to school or work. These are the things out there, right? Crazy. Anyway. This one here, I might keep this article for the end, right? Because it'll be a good segue into our discussion tonight of where can you buy properties for under 200 grand or around 200 grand and stuff like that, or is it possible? This one here is for all you guys with the super funds out there that trust in your government, trust in your job, get a good job, get a good retirement plan, and Aussies could fund aged care with retirement savings. It goes on to read, Aussies could dip into their savings to fund one thing under the bold new proposal and a conversation that we need to have. Got my glass of sparkling water here tonight, folks. These articles are printed not at best. The aged care funding crisis should force Australians to set aside some of their superannuation savings in order to improve the standards in aged care. A new blueprint from the sector's peak advisory group has cautioned. Released at the Aged and Community Care Providers Association National Summit on Thursday, the new issues paper also canvassed new social insurance scheme or Medicare style levy as alternatives to help aged care funding black hole. Last week we had the Commonwealth Games cancelled because the commie government blew out their budget. We've now got states, government debts in the hundreds of billions of dollars that they can't afford, right? and they can't afford the interest bill because the interest rate has gone up so high. They are going bankrupt, and now they can't afford the healthcare system or the aged care system, right? It's fine. You think you're protected, you're not. No one's coming to save you. You need to look after yourself. You need to look after your own retirement. Actually, that takes me to something else, right? I digress, but I went to the servo yesterday. I filled up $400 worth of diesel in my car, right? How's that for everyone's EV, right? You know, $400 worth of diesel, and diesel prices are cheap at the moment. Just got a nice big car to drive around in. And when I was sitting there, I couldn't help but see behind the lady at 7-Eleven, she asked me if I'd like to buy a Mars bar for $2 as well. But I couldn't help but see Winfield cigarettes, right? And there was holidays and stuff like that, right? And I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes, right? And I think that's where my cravings for paddle pops came into place, right? And I saw paddle pop inflation happening. Every time I'd buy a pack of smokes, I'd buy a paddle pop. And I quit smoking maybe 4 years ago, and I couldn't help but see the prices on it. And the prices on the smokes were like $65, $68, $71. And I was thinking, what, you're going to get a deck of smokes? You're going to get a pack of 50 or something? That's for a pack of 25 and a pack of 30s. I didn't even see Dunhill on there. And I was talking to someone, maybe about 2 years ago, and they said that Medicare is funded primary from the taxation on cigarettes. So the reason why they don't ban cigarettes, right? They've banned marijuana and other different things. I'll probably get shadow banned here now for saying different words, but anyway. They ban these things because they have other uses out there. But they don't ban cigarettes because it's good enough for people to be able to have, and they can tax people so then they can fund their socialist programs, right? And the whole Medicare system per year is funded directly from cigarette taxes, right? Now, someone from in the tobacco industry was telling me that a couple of years ago, so I've got a lot of confidence in what they were saying to me was true. So it's just interesting, right? Like the taxes have gone up. I don't think tobacco leaves, right? They've gone up 50% or whatever, right? But the taxes that are attached to it, right? If you go to, I don't know, see my tradies, right? A lot of them are Asian, and they have these smokes, and they're always, boss, do you want one? I'm like, no, I'd love one, right? But I don't touch them. And I see even the packs are not Aussie cigarettes, right? These guys get them for, I don't know, $2 a pack, $3 a pack, $5 a pack. They're going to be paying $10 a pack for these things. And we're taxed galore, right? And this here is your super fund, guys. There was a Medicare levy to fund Medicare, and now there's a retirement care for aged care because we've got to pay for our retirement or for everybody else's social retirement. So really everyone just needs to look after themselves, not just health-wise and not just feeding themselves well and what they put in their body, but also financially, because as I keep saying, no one's coming to save you. This one's a funny one, right? I saw last night on Instagram feed this thing about, how do I say it without being branded as a bigot or someone that's saying bad things, right? Thinking about my words here, right? I saw this video, and it was about last month, or the month before. There was every company out there had a rainbow logo, right? And I've got absolutely no issues with that, right? People do what they want. But it was someone was questioning in a podcast about why every company's logo went rainbow, right? And I've seen some large companies. I get like thousands of emails a day, right, from different people, and I see very big corporations, right? And then you see, like, last month it was NAIDOC month, and talking about trying to put up propaganda for voting in a voice, which I'm not even going into today, folks. But then you had an International Space Month, and it's like, why do all these large corporations have the same thing? Like, each month it's like, we've got to promote some new agenda, right? We've got to promote a view or a political thing and put it in everyone's face, right? And I've got no problem with what people want to do, right? But just, why do they do that, right? Why does that happen? And when you go and look through the stock market, you see that every large corporation out there is owned predominantly, has the shareholder of BlackRock, Vanguard, right? Or there's a few different ones, but predominantly places like BlackRock, right? And they have this thing called ESG, which is environmental social governance, which if you are a large publicly listed company, you don't get the funding if you don't participate in these events, right? So you don't push out inclusiveness for different things, right? Last time I didn't realise we're living in a world where, you know, people are stoned for driving a car of their colour or race or sex or anything like that, right? We're not in that, right? But they are pushing these things, right? And pushing these agendas. And if you don't, and you're a big corporation, you don't apply to it, you don't get funding, right? You don't get money, you don't participate in ESG. And that means that the next company over gets a lot of funding from these entities, right? We call them entities because they're faceless and you don't know what entity they really are, but you don't participate in the ESG, which is basically a social credit system, communism for our large retail outlets. And if you go and look at anything, every time I walk into Coles or Woolworths and people say about the cost of Big Macs at $10 and all these different things, right, you need to look into that food, right? So I had an argument with my mum about 6 months ago. She thinks light and easy meals are healthy, right? Random. And I look at the light and easy meal and it has on there that the ingredients. I said, tell me what's in this. And she goes, it's got steak, it's got peas, it's got this, it's got that. And I read every one. I was like, throw it, right? Mum she broke a hip and stuff, and she keeps telling me that these are the best things. I was like, they're bad for you, right? And it was all chemicals. It was just full of chemicals. And then it made me look at all the seed oils, do a lot of research in there. And when you go to the shops now, you see that these large supermarket outlets are forcing everything. 97% of the stuff in the supermarket is out to kill you. It's out to inflame your body. It's out to treat your body bad, right? I'm not going into health. I'm not even going into that to talk about it. But it makes me question, if these entities were so good, why aren't they promoting good health? Why aren't they promoting certain things, right? And it's because they have to, right? They're all controlled by these big, faceless, peopleless entities that are giving out ESG scoring and all these different types of things. So, you know, my point being is, I get to the wrap up with my next article. It says here, BHP signs an agreement with Toyota Australia to electrify its 5,000 mine site vehicles, right? So we've got companies pulling out coal, and now they're getting cars that are going to be running from a coal power point, right? You literally got to plug the car into the power point and suck more coal to keep your car. It's funny, the car's battery life only lasts about 300 kilometres or so it keeps you at a closer distance to home and stops you going for bigger distances and all that sort of stuff. But it says here, an agreement between the two commercial titans will lead to a safer and more sustainable future. Now, I love throwing out this green energies and sustainability and all that, but when you really do the dig deeping, and I'm not here to start any talks about what's good for the environment or not good for the environment. I'm really not going there, right? I'm not saying that you should have a big guzzling car, you should have a jet, you should have a plane, but these are all things that are out there that they're using as controlling mechanisms, just as it is, let's accept this and let's accept that and let's accept the next thing, right? And they're putting it as a political decision, and that's where we're at a corporatocracy or whatever they call it, a corporate government style entity that's controlling and ruling our lives, right? That's the world we live in. So we've now got ESG scores coming to these large corporations. I know from my clients, from my community, from you guys that watch my videos, you guys that are in Birch Feet, that, you know, that those that work in corporate, you send me the stuff and you share with me the things that you're seeing in your employment, and it's just the same shit. It's like I could go from one large institution on the stock market to the next one, and you'd have the same kit that you have to go and spill and get everyone to hold hands and sing Kumbaya around your office table, right? So crazy. But it says here now, BHP and Toyota have signed a memorandum of understanding to electrify the mining sites. Great fleet of 5,000 vehicles at present. The company's mine sites host predominantly diesel-powered Toyota Land Cruisers or Hiluxes. The BHP president, Geraldine, says the EV Fleet was the centre of the company's drive to reduce emissions, right? People say you've got to stop mining coal, right? BHP has a massive coal site, right? These guys have really big coal mines, right? Are they going to stop producing coal? There's different types of coal, right? There's one called, there's just your normal coal, and then you've got this stuff called metallurgical coal. Metallurgical coal is needed to produce steel. You can't have steel without metallurgical coal. Very rare. If they stop it, the more metal that they put into things, the more of this coal they have to produce, right? So it's, I don't want to get into specifics of it and bore everyone and go too far off topic, but it's just interesting to see what they're putting out there in the propaganda. Market wrap. ASX 200 down at the close. This is from yesterday, thanks to mixed US jobs data. We're seeing a lot of instabilities in the stock markets. Yeah, pretty crazy. Matt said here, it's only a matter of time until we have climate lockdowns. Climate lockdowns, or they've programmed everybody into videos that they have, right? When you look at movies like in the 1990s, you had Demolition Man and stuff like that, right? And you see this world that was St. Angeles, they called it, and Wesley Snipes and what's his name, Sylvester Stallone, and the cars in there look like Teslas. The schoolrooms look like your Teams views, right? This is 30 years beforehand, in 94 or 93 or whatever. And it's like they put stuff into movies before you see it. You look at Hunger Games and the districts, and people trapped in their districts. We're going to see our cities. Everyone's a smart city. Everyone wants to be connected to the grid. Everyone's asking for their enslavement. Go, Elon Musk. He's the Lord Savior, right? And you've got to really look at what they're programming us with to keep us in our own trap. But anyway, don't want to go too far off. I've got a very big discussion to talk about property stuff today. I'm going to finish up on my last couple of articles and we'll jump straight into it. So hang around, folks. This one here is pretty funny. The latest RBA statement shows the economy is faltering even further. The harrowing new report from the Reserve Bank has revealed the strain Aussie households face as the economy weakens. No shit, you've pushed up interest rates from 10 basis points to 410. That's 4,000% increase in the base cash rate, right? That's like 10 times the amount that the government was spending now than what they were last year. Bank bill swap rates are, 5 to 10 times more than what they were. Insane. Says anyway, the Reserve Bank is warning the fight against inflation may still have some way to run, as a shock report reveals soaring rents and high power bills are expected to sting household budget as unemployment rises. So now they're acknowledging that they've pushed up rates, we're in a recession, that we've got inflation coming in from high power bills. Bless the coal out there that runs your power point that you're going to hook your car into, because they can't get that shit cheap enough for you, because inflation is pushing up the value of all commodities out there, right? Just understand that commodities rise. It's like it's a market that can't really be controlled out there. So power costs have gone up 30% this last 6 months, and they went up 30% 6 months ago. So there's 60% extra on your power bill. And rent is now the household indicator for a CPI. So a CPI used to be that you'd have your mortgage and would be the house price, and then they averaged it down to an average mortgage that what people would be paying, and now they've swapped that out and they've put rents in instead of that. They're saying that it's going to be much tougher now because we've got household budget stinging with inflation and unemployment is rising. It says here the quarterly statement of monetary policy released last Friday has seen the Reserve Bank slash its short-term forecast, with economic growth expected to fall further. Aside from the economic shock experienced during the illnesses. Australia's economy is expected to grow at its lowest rate since 1992. 1992, the recession that we had to have, right? And I look back and everyone hated Paul Keating, but he was probably right. He probably said some honest truths there and was replaced because he lost his job very shortly after, because it was a reset back then as well. Reset to the household family unit. But yeah, so RBA is coming out saying how screwed the economy is, but I don't see that being controlled. Last two articles. This one here is this is just interesting, right? Commonwealth Bank announces cryptocurrency transfer limits. So it says here, one of the big four banks has put limits on certain customers' accounts in an effort to prevent fraud. It's for your own safety, folks. It's not because they want to control you or not because of anything else. It's because of your own safety. We don't want you losing money via a scam or a fraud, right? Even though they control it and participate in the biggest scam. There you go. Dire food side amid currency costs. Just an ad inside the propaganda. Commonwealth Bank has announced it introduced transfer limits in cryptocurrency exchanges in an effort to fight growing threats from scammers, right? So what you've got to remember, if they control the in and out flow, right? Let's call it, you had a hose or a pipe. Let's just pretend we've got a pipe of some sort. And that pipe is, I don't know, it's a sewer pipe, right? Let's say it's this big, right? And then it restricts it down to a little pipe, like this big, right? How much shit can you put through from that pipe down to this pipe? Something's going to break, right? And it will control the amount that goes out the other side. It'll be a trickle. So if they are controlling the in and out flowing of your beloved cryptocurrencies, and I love crypto, so no hate there, but everyone thinks it's the savior once again. It goes in the say, we talked last week, you push the terms and conditions. Everybody's bank, if you use the app on your phone, has been upgraded and you've had to be third line forced to upgrade your app, otherwise you can't use it. So the bank's new terms and conditions, seen by news.com.au, stated may transfer limit amounts to certain accounts or merchants. For example, those we believe associated with cryptocurrency exchanges to 10,000 from all accounts each month. So if you have your beloved cryptocurrency, you want to sell it or buy it, well then it means that they won't allow you to send more than 10,000 out of your bank account in a month. That's per month. Wow, we live in a free world, don't we? How's your cashless society? How's your digital currency going for you now, right? It says the bank said the changes were due to roll out 30 days from the date customers received the notice. We'll continue to decline and hold certain payments to cryptocurrency exchanges. The conditions read, adding it will decline payments of more than $10,000 without notice. So you can't have an account, you can't do more than 10,000 transactions per month. It says the Commonwealth Bank confirmed it would not restrict withdrawals from cryptocurrency exchanges to customers' accounts because they don't want a competing digital currency out there, which ultimately, if we really go back down to the code of SHA-256, potentially CIA, Incutel, those sorts of rabbit warrens you could go down, is cryptocurrency a gateway for us to accept a digital currency because everyone loves the thought of a government-backed cryptocurrency like Bitcoin could have been? Anyway, yeah, I don't think it'll be too long until all the other banks follow. They're all connected together. They've all got the same boss, remember? BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, these big hedge funds which keep it to the agenda. Just like I found it interesting that you go buy your fruit, your vegetables, your food, anything, you have to have a paper straw. You go to the shops, right? You buy a cup, right? Let's say you got your cup from Macca's, right? You go to your beloved McDonald's, right? Get your cup of poison, and it's got a plastic lid. You got a paper straw. Sometimes you got a plastic cup. You got a coffee cup that's plastic with a paper straw. How did all of these companies on the same day decide, oh, we're going to change and ban some plastics and turn it all to paper? And what's the reason behind it? How did they be able to turn that switch very, very quickly? Anyway, my last article, which leads us into discussions of today, is Great Migration. Right? Great Migration. What is driving 1 of 5 Australians to plan a regional move? Millions of Australians are thinking of fleeing capital cities, with a graph showing just which capital cities will be impacted the most. I don't buy into this, folks. Capital cities going regional. I like regional. I like capital cities. It takes me to my next part, which is the property clock, and I'll tie these two into each other, kind of. I've not been a fan of regional locations before. I've bought in regional locations over the years. I see value in some of them today. Does it mean that when you're buying a property for 200 grand that you have to buy in regional? No, we're buying in capital cities still for $200,000. Many capital cities, more than 3 or 4 capital cities in the country for that. But anyway, we've got 700,000 migrants coming in. 700,000, right? And at the rate of all of the builders dropping every week, right? We've got builders just collapsing. Last week there was 7 builders that went broke that I saw on the news. And it's like, these are new ones. They're not the old ones that you're seeing, repeat of. And you're like, oh, wow, they're really taking a field day on this bloke. But there's 7 new ones that just went in a week that I counted. So if you've got all these builders dying, not dying per se, maybe they are, but the builders going broke, who's going to be able to build? Wouldn't we need to build more properties to fund and fill up the position for all the people coming in? They can't keep up with it, right? So we've got a new inflationary pressure here with all the migration. We need the migrants to come in to pay our bills and our taxes and all that, and try and service our debt that we've got as a nation. But we don't have enough housing for them, which they're not going to go to every little regional town. They will go to some. They've actually, in the process, there's a few in the process of changing their laws. So one thing to note, let's go through migration and how it occurred in the past, right? I have never talked about this, but it's something I do my research around when buying properties and going to new locations. In 2009, when the GFC came, they turned on the import printers and printed lots of passports and let people move into the country and issued visas. If you are a doctor in India or China, you move to Australia, you could have been the best doctor, right? But when you arrive here, you're not a doctor anymore because you have to go get a license for that here in Australia, and they will say to you, well, you can't do that for a period of, whatever, you have to go back to university. But if you go to a regional town, then you work as a doctor in a regional town for 10 years. By default, you become a doctor. And I could be wrong on some of those finer details, but that's, in short, in a layman's term, what occurs there. So if we look at the last boom, we'll just take Sydney, for example. Most people think that a boom... Some bikes flying down the road here. You might look at... got sidetracked. I was thinking of that computer game at Time Zone with the motorbikes on it. So in Sydney, for example, you normally see that the eastern suburb, for example, will have a boom, but in the western suburbs, it'll take a while to have the ripple effect. They call it the ripple effect, right? And it goes out. But last time we saw that the western suburbs went up first, like the Mount Druitt, the Penrith, and all those sort of locations, and it went east and out to those more affluent suburbs. And what happened then is that there was a lot of migration that went to those populations, and that's where migration filled in. So supply and demand kicked in. In 2019, they did that here to the Gold Coast, and they made the Gold Coast a regional city. And they also did it at Perth. And surprise, surprise, like properties I was buying here for 200 grand 4 or 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and now 600 grand. And it's like, there's more pressure that's being put from every angle here. And I don't know if they're still doing it here. I think they still do class the Gold Coast and Perth as regional cities, and there's a lot of push to get people to migrate there. But they're also now doing it to a lot of regional cities. And I'm not going to be so lovely to give everyone IP and stuff like that, but there's a lot of regional cities that we've been buying in, which have got that they've got the information that they're doing this to, and upcoming with new flight paths and all that sort of stuff. As part of the research that I do at B.Invested on behalf of my investors, and those areas have doubled in the last year or 2 years, and it's it's happening right now, right in front of us. Like a lot of people's properties that have bought this year have gone up 40% just in a year. So the pushes to these regional towns. Do I think that we're going to see a massive boom to regional towns? I think there's a lot more to go for them. I think that it's not quite this moment. I think there's still volatility on that. But if we fast forward a decade, the Gold Coast is well established as a city now. Perth is well established as a city now. It was very volatile in previous times gone by. But with migration measures that have been put in place, these things have taken off. And I think as we go through this next decade of migration going directly to regionals, I think that it will have more pressures there. I'm really excited by capital cities though too at the moment. So I go to this property clock, right? And one of my team sent me this the other day, right? Paul, yes, right? It says here, Paul just wrote here, said, think about a 35 million plus population, and that's where we're heading to, right? 10 million more people, where will they go, right? You put the size of New South Wales and sprinkle it out across a few locations, there's not much for it to go. Bigger than Sydney or New South Wales, like New South Wales and Queensland, population and dump it on top. It's talked about that Brisbane will be the size of Sydney is today by 2030, like in the next decade, population-wise. So. And I'm not saying buy in Brisbane and all that. Like that, if you wanted to buy in Brisbane, we should have been doing that years ago. Not today. There's other locations that are like that. But that takes me on to this property clock, right? And this is funny, right? One of my staff sent it to me and they said, "Hey, what do you think of this property clock?" Blah blah. And I said, "You're gangster, right? You're a gangster when the property clock follows you and you don't follow the property clock, right?" And what is a property clock? It's all these valuer mobs and that. They put out these clock and they say, "Oh, it's too hot," or it's at the top of the market, the bottom of the market, and there's this, when's a part of the cycle, right? And I laughed, right? Because the things that are in a declining market, the markets that are pulled out of, the bottom of the markets, the markets that I'm in, the rising markets, the markets I have been in, and the top of the cycle are the things that we're going, okay, we'll stop buying there, we're going to go elsewhere. So it's like this data is old, right? But somehow people go to it and go, "Oh, wow, it's a good time to be buying here." It's like, no. All the people buying of these things are the people that are pushing up our prices, right? We're here in the Gold Coast buying for 200 grand a piece, and now we're 600 grand a piece. Buying at 600 grand ain't a fucking good deal. You're getting 600 bucks a week, 500 bucks a week, good on you, right? Buying them at 200 grand, getting 350, 400 bucks a week, and now they're getting 600 bucks a week. That's a fucking boss move. But following these things ain't how you go and build wealth in property. So I guess my main parts for discussion today is I was going to have another housing chart, but I've got that one there, which is talking about where locations are in property charts and trying to hotspot locations. Like, is it possible to buy properties in Australia for 200 grand in 2023? Let me say, it is getting very hard to do so. It is getting more and more difficult. 300 grand is a new 200 grand, but the 200 grand is a very important price point for you to build a very solid foundation portfolio. Chad, you made me laugh. I have a drink. Hopefully I don't spit it out from laughter. I'm not even going to repeat that one. But how can we still buy properties for 200 grand, or where are they? I said beforehand, in capital cities in 2023 you can still buy. even in Brisbane, I've still been buying stuff with 2s in front of it. A lot of people think you go to Woodridge and Logan and stuff like that, right? I was buying those things at 120 grand, 150 grand. Buying them at 300 grand isn't where you're going to make your profit, right? Buying them at 400 grand, buying a fibro house in Woodridge at 600 grand in 2023, renting it for 450, 500 a week with a household tenant, it's not a sustainable portfolio. That ain't how you're going to build wealth, folks. That's setting yourself up with a massive amount of risk. There's a few markets within Sydney which are very migrant dense, and if we look at Sydney, Sydney has doubled. Let's say Sydney's doubled in the last 3 or 4 years. There's properties in Sydney that I'm picking up today in 2023 that are still 300, 350k, but they're in blue chip locations. I'd consider them as being fairly relatively blue chip locations. But they're at a price where they used to sell for 450 and we're picking up for 350 in 2023. They used to rent for 280 or 300, but now, because of pressures, the rents have gone up to 500, 550, 600 a week, and you're paying 350, maybe 380 for those type of properties. These things are cheaper than what they were 7 years ago. What can you buy that's cheaper than what it was 7 years ago? And it's got room for growth because everything else has had the growth. This is just, Johnny come later. So that's if we look at Sydney. If we look at Brisbane, there's pockets in Brisbane where I'm picking up properties today, which might be only 5 years old, where people paid $450 for them going back new like 7 to 10 years ago. They've got depreciation. They're renting for $700 a week, and I'm picking them up for $350 a week, 350k, 400k, that sort of thing. They're cool deals, right? It's in capital cities. Picking up properties in Perth in the CBD a year ago, 2 years ago, I was picking up for 120 grand. No one knew about it. Everyone shitting on it. Everyone now, let's go get them. I'm still picking up properties there at 200, 230, 250, and I rent for 400, 450 a week. And I'm talking CBD sort of stock here. So it is getting harder. Those markets are very, very hot. But you can buy in capital cities, and they are occurring in all capital cities out there. Even our friends in Melbourne, we went and negotiated on something in the CBD, like 5Ks from CBD, 150 grand for a unit 3 months ago. And in the same complex, there's one that's been painted and carpeted without a full reno for 260k for sale. So you can buy them in capital cities. But looking at some major regional locations as well, there's properties, people think regionals don't go up. I know that there's people watching this right now, and I see you in the live stream and the feed and whatnot, and I just know that you'd be watching this. That I've bought properties for 60 grand in little mining towns that are now worth 300 grand 2 years later. We've got people that have bought houses in areas which used to sell for 500 grand that we're picking up for 120, which are now worth $200,000, and even 80,000 a year ago, they're now worth 200,000, renting for 350 a week. Buying them at 200,000 and trying to get 350 a week, there's a risk caked into it, but still a little bit of upside. But it's the value that you're getting when you're acquiring your asset. So, you can make money in any market, and there's a lot of locations that remind me very similarly, eerily similar to the Gold Coast here, where I'm picking up stuff, like when I was buying here in the Gold Coast, people used to laugh at me. Though, like, there was no one. Like, seriously, go out there, find a buyer's agent out there. Like, there's shitloads of them now. But when I was buying, there was no one. Everyone was like, why would you buy the Gold Coast, Birchy? You can't make money out there, whatever. I was like, the fundamentals are there, right? The fundamentals aren't there now, so I don't buy it. I don't buy houses in Mount Druitt for 800 grand and rent them for $400 a week or $500 a week. I was buying them at 80 grand. It actually takes me to a property that I had. I did a flip deal, right? And people talk about buying and selling properties and stuff like that. A random property, me and a mate and someone else, we went thirds on a property, right? And I say to you guys, I don't buy properties with other people or anything like that. I used to flip properties occasionally, and I saw an opportunity to make some money, and I bought a fire damaged house for $110,000. It's number 37 Pearlside Street or Avenue or some shit in Wilmot. and I paid $110,000 for this thing, right? And people say you can't make money in Mount Druitt. They laughed. They said Birch is off his head, whatever. I sound crazy nowadays, but I didn't. I was just like, oh yeah, this is going to make money, and I just did what I needed to do because my numbers stacked up, and I followed my plan, and I had a good strategy, and it worked, right? And occasionally I'd be like, I've got a deal, but I might have mates who've got cash or something, and I don't have the cash to put into it, so I'd go halves in a property or something. So this one here was a fire damage. It was actually one of our investors back in the old days, and they had like 100 grand. This guy's like, I'll put the money down in the deal, but I just want to see you do a reno just for me to get inspiration, right? And I was like, okay, sure, give us the cash, we'll do the deal. So I bought this thing with the buy, reno, and flip. And I would never buy and sell a property, right? Because you buy and sell a property and you go to look back. Like people in 2010 would be sitting there going, I bought a property for 200, I sold it for 400, I made 200 grand, I'm a hero, I've doubled my money, whatever. But now they're sitting there going, fuck, I wish I bought more, I wish I didn't sell it, it's now worth $1 million or whatever. This is a perfect example, and I bought it for the purposes, just for a laugh. It was literally buying for laughs, right? And there's properties on the market at the moment. They've added a granny flat to it. Someone sold it again for 400. It's on the market for 850 or 900,000 as a price range. I bought this fucking thing for 110,000. I spent like 20 grand on a reno, 30 grand on a reno. Sold it for like 260 or something like that. It was like I doubled my money on it. Me and a couple of mates split the cash and go, oh, see you later, whatever. I made like 40, 50K on the deal. You know, a few phone calls, not even my money. It's fine, right? And it was a cool deal, right? But I look at it now, and I actually said it to Daniel the other day, and I was like, bro, look at this thing. He's like, what the fuck? This thing's gone there. And we just had a laugh because when we were buying out there, everyone used to laugh because you can't buy. You get the house at 100 grand, 200 grand, ain't going to go up. These things are $1 million now. $1 million. Buying it out there is stupid, right? You can't buy who buys that today. Silly, right? But there's opportunities out there like that today, and there's thousands of investors. That's why I build wealth like no one else out there does. But buying these properties with the fundamentals, and I say there's three that I used to talk about, which is below market value, upside for growth, and a strong cash flow. In markets like now, like there's people going broke because they bought a house to split it. They paid 800 grand. They're doing a reno to it. They're cutting the land off. They're potentially, hopefully, maybe some one days, but they ain't making cash on the deals. So who's bought a property for 800 grand? I'm not taking the piss out of anyone. I don't even know who's got it because I don't even talk to people that do that. Everyone's like, yeah, that's stupid. I don't want to do it, right? But there's so many people, all these experts, right? All these internet gurus, right? There's what's his name? Dr. Dre and Eazy-E, right? They called Dr. Dre called him Eazy-E called him a studio gangster, right? He didn't know how to shoot a gun. He talked the big game, but he never taken action on that. And there's all these heroes out there. Everyone's an expert in property, but no one's even been through a market cycle. No one understands how money works. No one understands how the properties work out there. And looking at the market, there's so many people that have given this advice, which is let's go and buy a property and chop the yard off. We spend $1 million and potentially do a reno and build a granny flat out the back and spend 200 grand on a granny flat. I'm buying fucking houses for 200 grand, man. I'll buy you 2 houses for 200 grand. Not building a stupid granny flat in the backyard of a property. It's not even part of my vocabulary. The amount of granny flats that I've built out of buying 300 properties over the years, fucking none. My first property, I built a granny flat out. I converted a garage into a granny flat and rented it out, and it was the shittest thing I ever done. Never again. Zero. Zero. I ain't doing that. I ain't gonna get you rich, right? It might give you an extra little bit here or there. There's much smarter, much more wiser ways out there to do it. But the three crucial ways, people, the last 3 years, there's been an orgy of cheap debt, abundance of money flowing like champagnes down at clubs down in the street, down in the glitter strip, right? Everyone's having a grand old time. But it's a time like now where everyone's like, oh, I'm doing it tough, I'm going to sell my property. The amount of development deals, like big sites where I know people have gone wrong out there. I'm not seeing people selling off a property portfolio because they can't afford a 150 grand loan or a 200 grand loan that rents for $300-400 a week. I'm seeing development sites. I'm seeing people that have bought big houses for like $1 million, $2 million. Those things is people that are being pressured in there, being forced to sell. But the crucial thing, so I'm looking at these markets, and we've got people that are doubling their value in 12 months, doubling their value in 24 months. In the current market, high interest rates, right? High interest rates, and we've got properties doubling. What fucking planet does that happen on? It happens on a planet when you've got the right fundamentals. Buy below market value, upside for strong growth, and a positive cash flow. If it has a positive cash flow and you're buying at the affordable end of the market, everybody's forced into this affordable end of the market, and inflation does its thing. And that's why I've built recession-proof portfolios. This is 20 years. I've owned properties for 20 years now. There's 2 decades. 2 decades. I'm not trying to prove it with fucking white hair and all that stuff. I swear, and I just don't care like I used to, because I've made it in property, right? And looking at the opportunities that are out there, like you need a strategy that's foolproof. So make sure your strategy covers those 3 things. The last 2 years, I saw how bad inflation was going to get, and I added 2 new things in there, right? The fourth one is to make sure that the property is below replacement cost, right? If you can, it is great. It's not a part of the 3. If it doesn't do that, then don't do it. But it's ideally if you can buy it below rebuild cost, right? So if you're buying a property for 200 grand, you can't build a granny flat for that, right? You're instantly ahead from having to rebuild it. If they need to build new properties coming to the market for whatever, I've got here, just down the road there, it's a suburb called Southport. You've got Australia Fair and all that. I own an acre of fucking land down there, right? I'm not saying to gloat. I've got really zero houses. I went there today and there's a squatter in one of them. They're ready to be knocked, right? They're ready to be knocked. And I was sitting here, I was standing on the balcony yesterday morning talking to one of my mates, a builder. And I was like, I feel depressed here, right? I feel depressed. It's like, look at it, it's like lovely. But like, I just can't, like, there's nothing to do here for me. Like, my time has come and gone here, right? But I've got so much here, right? And I called my mate and I said, hey, how much, what I'm thinking about doing is building 50 units just for, so I want to do something, right, to it. I built 50 units and make them dual key and all these things. And then he's like, oh yeah. I was like, just what sort of rough price? I'll do this, I'll bring my trades, like just build the brickwork. I'll put my own glass in, I'll just certify it, and you know, I just need help. I'm not going to sell it and all that. He's like, oh, 350 is a build cost, right? Build cost for the building, right? You want to build a 2-bedroom basic unit, it's going to cost you 300 grand, 350, plus the land, plus the profits, plus all that. If someone wants to build a property, it's going to cost 500 grand to build a property today in the market. 500. So anything you buy less than 500 grand, you can't build that fucker. So one of 2 things occurs. Either they build new ones around because there's supply and demand issue because all the migrants coming in and whatnot, and that drags the value of your existing asset up. That's just all that's going to happen. Or it's unaffordable for the market to be able to afford 500 grand, and then they don't get built, and then because it's supply and demand, it pushes the value of the price up. So which way is your price going to get dragged up? Is it going to fall in half? Like, we're talking at the bottom end of the market. We're talking about affordable properties. So below rebuild cost, very, very important. And the 5th one is if you buy a property for 200 grand or 300 grand, the chance of that being able to double or triple, to go from 200 to 400, 400 to 600 to 800, whatever, is very strong. But if you have a property which is $2 million, how easy is it for it to double from $2 million to $4 million, right? Very difficult in this market, and no one would be able to service that property. The serviceability of the people, right? People can't afford $1 million mortgage anymore. They're only able to afford a 500 grand or 400 grand. So it's pushing more people into the bottom end of the market for those deals to, you know, get dragged up with inflation. So important, follow the 5 rules. Below market value, upside strong growth, positive cash flow or neutral cash flow, below rebuild cost, and with the ability for them to be dragged up because of serviceability. Understanding how the servicing of the people on the ground, right? People that have moved here used to be coasties, right? Used to be very coastal town. Go look at photos from back in the 70s, right? The Gold Coast, real coastal, right? Nowadays, you've got people moving from Melbourne, Sydney, IT jobs, 150 grand, 200 grand jobs. They can afford for these things, so they've dragged the value up, right? What other areas are there which allow that to happen? Just food for thought. Now, I've got given some numbers here. from my team of a few properties, but I'm not that excited by it, right? I'm not that excited by it because I think there's better in my computer, right? So I've got my laptop out. I might move my computer, I might move back a little bit and get my computer onto the table here. Just move that forward a little bit and then read through some numbers in a moment and read through some of these numbers. So I've got here a property. I'm not giving location, guys. I'm not giving location. No one's getting that fucking excited of, don't get that excited. I'm giving away my IP on that front. I've got a property here. It's in Queensland. 180,000 purchase price. This was purchased in March this year. 180,000. Rent for 340. There's now nothing under 390 for rent in the suburb. A revaluation at 250. That's 70 grand more from the bank. Not from me, not from me making up the numbers, not from you making up numbers, not from us guessing, that's from the bank. I've got another guy here, first home, 185,000 for a 1-bedroom unit. It was renting for 350. It's now gone up to 420 per week. And a revaluation at 240 grand. That produced 42,000 net equity. So if you had to put down a deposit on a $185,000 property, this property's only 10 years old, by the way, 10 years, less than 10 years, right? 185 grand purchase price, let's call it 400 bucks a week rent, 240 revaluation, 42 grand equity. That's within a month of settling the thing. This person's gone on to buy the second property, and they'll be able to pull equity out of that second one. I'm very confident of it. I know they will. They're about to settle. And then we'll have enough for the third one. It's actually, they've got a deposit for the third one. I think they came to us like 60 grand to start off with. So that's just a portfolio. There's someone starting today in 2023. It's a bad world out there. Rising interest rates, right? Who's going to go broke paying $180,000 for a property that rents for $340 a week, nearly 10% yield? We push it up to 380, 390, 400. Insane. Here's one which is really funny, right? Sydney property. This person came to me in November last year, and wanted to buy 2 properties. They had, I think they had about 400 grand. However, they had no job and no income, so they had to buy the thing cash. You know, I believe that this client is now up to 10 or 11 properties, right, in 6 months. One of the properties we bought for $300,000 in Sydney, right, for a 2-bedroom unit in Sydney, and we revalued. This is a bank valuation from Commonwealth Bank. Huge shout out. Thanks for fucking being Commie Bank, and wrecking everybody's life with your social credit system, capping the cryptocurrency, and all different things. But I appreciate the fact that you have very good lending standards there. Thanks, Ree. I hope you're doing well. We've got here a 550,000 revaluation from Commie Bank, right? Thank you. Keep them coming. Keep your valuations coming, right? Give us all the money, right? Everyone wants to go in there and think, let's put the hoodie on our head. Freeze is a sticker, right? Then how you get the money from the bank? They want to give the money away. You need to go in there nice. You need to know what they want. You need to talk to them nicely, just like talking to a female or a male, whatever sex you are, or whatever your flavour is. Go and the banks want to give you the money, right? It's how you approach the other party is a part of the conversation. So this person paid 300 grand, right? So what do you need for 300 grand property? You need a 20% deposit. 20% deposit on a 300 grand property is 60 grand deposit. Person put 60K in. They revalue it for 550 grand. The bank gives you 80% of 550 grand, which is 440 grand. So your initial loan was 300 grand minus 60 grand deposit, which is 240 grand. You've now got a 550K valuation. 80% of that is 440 grand. 440 grand minus 240 grand. Don't need to be a mathematician here, folks. $200,000 worth of net equity. So you put 60 grand into the deal, you get back 200 grand. You've tripled your money. Everyone's trying to get their crypto and get into an exchange and get the bank to give them the money, right? This is an infinite return. You got triple the amount of your money you put in. Anyway, that's a deal. It's in Sydney, right? Oh, you can't do these deals in 2020. So get out of here. Here's one. This one here, I didn't know about this one. This person, if they are watching, I'm going to message you afterwards. I'm going to leave a little message here because I know you've got some equity now, so we're going to go shopping. This person bought a property. It's just settled. It's literally just settled. I didn't even know it had settled. It's in Brisbane, right? Everybody's sitting down. Drum roll. What is the cheapest property you could buy in Brisbane in the last 2 months, right? What's the cheapest property? Put it in the comments. Entertain me. What's the cheapest property you can find in Brisbane in 2023? I want to see some numbers. What do you think? What would be a cheap property in Brisbane? No one's got any. The guessing game's not working today. No one's giving me numbers. All right. I'll go first. Brisbane, $147,000 for a one-bedroom unit. Proper one-bedroom unit. 160, 250, 300, 300. Now 147. We've revalued it for 197, right? 197G. So 50K up means that the person's able to pull out 40 odd grand worth of equity, right? One bedroom unit, 147K, revalue for 197. That's with a bank. I don't know which bank. It doesn't say it here, but that's mad, right? So that gives someone 40K equity. I've got another one here. That's in Brisbane. Where someone just, I don't know the amount that they paid. I don't have it here. My team didn't put it here. Go on, put numbers down next time, guys. No, you're doing a great job. I just messed around. In Brisbane, it's got a 260K loan, so it would have paid like 320. And it's got a revaluation of 380. So there's about 50K equity here that's coming out. So the numbers, I don't understand the structure of it. I don't have the purchase price here in front of me, but that's a really cool one. I've got another one here in Brisbane, 212, revalued for 245 within a month. There's 33 grand up out of that. Get like 26 grand. There's another deal. Here we go. That could be correct, Chad. That could be correct. That's why you need to make sure that when you're taking on debt, that you've got low risk debt, not millions of dollars worth of debt. Here's a property that I bought for one of my team members, right? This deal I'd sent to like maybe 3 of you guys, and you said no, right? One of my team saw it, and it was a house, right? This house is 10 years old. How much does it cost to build a house? I just said a unit would cost 350K, right? How much does it cost to build a house? Anyone want to play? Guess. Let's play a guessing game. How much to build a house in 2023? If your builder survives and doesn't go broke, let's drop it in the comments. I'll wait a moment before I tell you the figure of the house. How much does it cost to build a house? 500 grand there. Potentially. 600 grand. Right? 550K. I'd hate to guess. I don't even want to build. 400 grand. Let's just say it costs 300 grand. 350K. You get a 4-bedroom, double garage, basic thing. 400 grand. There we go. For this house, I think it would be about 6 to 7 years old. It's not even 10. Let's just say it's 6 to 7 years old. What do we got here? Just going to read out this comment. Sam said, I'm patiently waiting much higher inflation. Hopefully we'll see in the next years. Imagine a 200 grand house is worth 800 grand. And it's literally what we're seeing here on the Gold Coast, right? On the Gold Coast, it's happened, right? In Sydney, it's happened. In Mount Druitt, right? Crazy. It's happening in new places too. Bought this house. So I'm talking just a house to build, right? It's got land. The land value is $200,000 for a block of land, plus a house on it. You'd have to spend 400 grand. So there's 600 grand to get into the market to get a comparable item today. 5, 6, 7 years old. $315,000 purchase price. I had a couple of people say no. I don't fucking know why you didn't say no, but I knew I had a valuation on it beforehand, right? And I don't share valuations with my investors. I never share the valuation, because if I say to you guys, hey, I've got a valuation here at this figure, and pull it out, and it doesn't happen for whatever reason, you'll be like, Birch, you lied to me or whatever. So I just don't say shit, right? I share with you guys what I feel like it could be worth and comparable sales, so you get a good understanding of where it's at. We revalued it for $387,000 a day after settlement. My staff member bought their first property in February this year. They paid $152,000 for it, and there's one in the same block for $250,000 now, so it's $98,000 increase. Right? That's like a 70% return. Bought this property off the back of that, and is now looking for the third property. Got here another property which is pulled $460 for a duplex pair as a revaluation. Purchase price I think was $360,000 as a purchase price. So there's about 95 grand equity. I don't know how it's all structured. I've got limited. I can tell which staff members put together which piece of information here. This guy, I'm gonna message a couple of you folks today, right? Because you're not going to realise that your valuations are even out, right? I'm telling you guys news before you even know it. Like my investors, I tell them where, hey, you've got some equity. If we've done the loan, we've bought the property or that, I look at those properties and I'm like, hey, Zinger, let's see what we can do for a valuation. Let's see what banks are doing valuations, and we pull out that equity. So this one here just bought a property for $170,000, and it's revalued for $200,000. So 30 grand there, 30 grand, 80% of that's 24 grand, or wait, 26 grand, 24 grand, sorry. There's a deposit for 120 grand property. That was only literally just settled. Here's a guy who paid $152,500. I spoke to this guy. Where did I speak to him? I remember speaking when I spoke to him the first time. I was trying to picture. I was trying to remember exactly where I'm at, right? When I was speaking to someone, I remember I was in my holiday house, right? I was on the beach and chatting to this bloke. He's on like I think 80 grand a year, 90 grand a year, and he had like 50 grand ready to go, 80 grand ready to go. I bought him 2 properties. He really pushed himself, right? And one of those properties was $152,500, and we've got a revaluation on it of $250,000 with our friends over at ANZ. So it's not just one bank; these are different banks, right? Gave him a net position of $78,000 in equity, which enabled him to do another 2. And this guy, I think, he's up to like 6 now, because we've really been gangster, right? And he's done really well for himself. So. And that's literally this year. Literally, the property was purchased in like January, probably settled around March, pulled out the equity, bought the next 2. But no, it's all out there. It's a scam. You can't find properties for under 200 grand. These things as well. One thing I like, I'm a contrarian investor. For you guys, I shared with you a video with Meneco64. If you haven't watched it, when you finish watching this, you haven't had enough of listening to Birchie for Tuesday, go to YouTube, go to Podcastville, go and like check out on Google Play, Apple Play, Spotify, No BS with Birchie podcast. I interviewed Mario Meneco64, lovely gentleman. Really got a lot of respect for this guy, and people often ask, where do I get my information from? I build all my strategies, so it's not like I get information from anyone else. I literally build my property strategies. But when it comes to macroeconomics, I've researched the shit out of it. There's some people I really respect, and Meneco64 did a podcast with him the other day, talking about the control of money flow out there. And I'm a contrarian investor. He's a contrarian investor. He looks at data and all that. He's not a property guy. He's invested in the precious metals and stuff. But yeah, watch the video. It's very important. But he's a contrarian investor. I'm a contrarian investor. I buy shit when no one likes it. Right? I buy things when everyone spits on it. I bought the Gold Coast when everyone spat on the Gold Coast. I don't buy the Gold Coast. Everybody wants the Gold Coast. It's like, there's no cool. I like going to the location. So these things, like this guy bought for $152,500. That property probably would have sold for $250K 12 to 15 years ago, right? If I can pick up a property in 2023, you can't buy anything. You can't buy a Big Mac cheaper. You can't buy a laptop cheaper. You can't buy a crappy glass cheaper. I went into the... everyone knows Kmart is a shit shop, right? I went into Kmart today. I bought this ring light because I didn't have any filming gear with me, so I got this ring light from Kmart. And I was in there. I was like, I might see what little plants and stands and feminine things for the office, right? Make it feel all warm and cozy in there. And I walked in there. I was like, I'm too confused here. I'll just walk out. I took some photos and sent it to some people and said, hey, let's get some of this stuff. But I was in there and I was thinking, Kmart's no different than a $2 shop. You got Bangladeshi, clothes and like everything's like slave labor in there, right? It's very, I don't like it, right? I don't like it. It's just I knew I could get a ring light from there. But I looked at it, I'm like, a plant stand, a vase, $50, $70, $100. I didn't know that Kmart sold stuff for that price, right? It's just, everything has gone up so high. Inflation is through the roof. But what can you buy that's cheaper today than what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? If you can find stuff that's cheaper than what it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, do yourself a favor and go and buy it, right? Because people haven't looked at that yet. People haven't touched it. They haven't felt it. They haven't picked it up. So that's where a lot of value is. I've got a guy who is a new client. He just bought his second property, right? He's a younger brother of an existing client who's got like 15 properties in his portfolio. He's a uni grad, I think on about 70 grand a year, had 40 grand, right? 40 grand to get started. I very rarely suggest for people to do a less than an 80% loan, right? 80% loan to value ratio. But in some cases, it does make sense. And in this instance, like maybe 1 out of 150, I'd say, not even 1% would be, okay, go less than that. But it's in specific, it's like, that smash glass if you need to, right? It's like, do it if you really need to. This guy, 40 grand he had, bought his first property for $205,000 he bought it for, 90% loan. We revalued it for $269,000. So there was 64 grand equity in it. 80% of that, maybe 55 grand roughly. And he's used that to buy his second property in a capital city for 220 grand, which I expect it will revalue for 300. So this guy will probably be on 3 properties in 2, 3, 4 months time of investing. He's got 2 properties down, just need to pull out equity from that second one and then be able to go buy the third one. And that is literally, like, it is the ability to do it is happening right now, right? And there's going to be so many people that watch this and go, life will get in the way and this and that. There's always excuses, always shit that goes wrong. There's never a perfect time. There's never been a perfect time for any of you viewers to go, just go and buy a property. The stars don't all align, right? Nothing in my life works perfect, right? But I just go, okay, I need to do that. I need to make that action. I need to do those things. So, 5 years might pass. You might do nothing. And then maybe in 5 years you'll be like, shit, Birch, I should have done this. Let's do it. And I have so many people that I work with today that have been following me for 10 years when I was a little bit less crazy. But, looking at it, the deals are out there. What happens... I'm going to ask a question, right? If you're watching and you're thinking, I'm going to wait for interest rates to drop, I'm going to wait for whatever the case may be. What happens in a year's time when interest rates drop? But these properties are going up they've gone up in a market that's very, interest rates have gone up and all that sort of stuff. These properties are going up. What will happen to these properties when the interest rates go down again, right? What will happen to those properties? So if you're thinking, I'll wait another 12 months, see what happens, I'll wait another 2 years, see what happens. What happens in 2 years' time when interest rates go down? How many properties can you get? If you need 10 properties to retire, you might get 2, right? If you really push yourself, you might get 5, right? The opportunity is today, because when it's gone, it's like coming to the Gold Coast going, oh, I better go and, like Schleprock with the fucking cloud above his head, oh, I better go and buy the property now in the Gold Coast, it's 600,000, oh, wait now. Like, the opportunities are there, so... we've got one here, Sydney 315 revalued for 396. They're just a few properties. I actually had a lot more there than what I realised that I had by looking at my laptop. So, I guess I'm going to leave it with you guys the questions to ask me questions. But we're living in a world, you've got high inflation, right? Everything's rising in value. Don't you think maybe the rents are rising? Oh yeah, tick, right? Everything's rising. What about the property prices, right? Everyone's expecting it to crash, but that's what inflation is. It's the rising of value of everything and the crash of the currency. So, looking at it, can you still get deals? Yes. Is it getting harder to get? Yes. The deals of me saying, I've got something for 60 grand and 100 grand, 120 grand are becoming a thing of the past. Like getting a property for 100 grand is not really that popular now. Like, well, it is popular if people get it, but, getting them is the hard thing to get. I was actually, there's a property that sold last week for 115 grand. Some of you might think 115 grand, that's cheap. I didn't buy it, like, it was a sale I saw. It's just, I was like, wow, that's a big sale. I was buying the property for 20 grand, 25 grand. You guys have seen videos of me over the years talking about it. People laugh, why would you buy that thing? That property looks like a cake tin in Cairns, right? There's a property in North Cairns. It looks like a cake tin. It's a roof, it's a round building. And those things are selling for 120, 150 grand now. I was paying 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand from them. Saw one the other day, 20 grand to 115 grand. So these things 5, 6 times the value, right? Like, people want to speculate on crypto. You can buy an actual physical asset, a property that gives you cash flow week after week, day after day, month after month. You can leverage it up. You can sell it to the big liquid market out there. So, they're getting much harder to get, is my point. But they're still out there. People are still building portfolios. I've had record amounts of deals that have been doing for people. People seeing value. They're seeing the crash of their currency. They don't want money. They'd rather have debt. The debt becomes irrelevant with inflation. The rent is going up with inflation. The capital value is going up with inflation. That's the fun part about it. So, So on that note, I think that's about all that I wanted to talk about today. I had another piece of paper that I think I may have thrown here beforehand. That's about it. So unless you guys have some questions for me, I might... Oh, actually, I can see some questions. I'm going to answer your questions. So Andrew said, yes, you have to wait for the build. Lloyd says, how come they're getting revalued up $50,000 within a month of their purchase? Because we're buying them below market value. Like, not every... Let's say we're looking at a car downstairs. What's a Ford Ranger worth, right? I don't know. Is it a XLT? Is it a Raptor? Is it a base model? What's holding the market back? Is there no new stock? Is there a 2-year waiting list? I might say it might be worth 50 grand. You might say it's worth 40 grand. The seller of it might say, I'm not selling less than 80 grand. You're all pigs. Get out of here, right? It's determining that value, but it's having that data, having the knowledge, having the research to see, okay, where's those glitches? And you want to be confident when making those moves on the chessboard that you're getting something that's below market value. So it's all about getting it below market. Josh, hope we can get out some equity and purchase more soon. Mate, let's see what we can do there. Paul says Kmart has massive markups. Yeah, wages is cheap. Kmart buys low, sells high. Chad says, I'm worried about the financial institutions abroad crashing and causing another bigger GFC. 100% we will see a bigger GFC. The GFC was nothing compared to what will come, right? But in the GFC, a lot of people were disadvantaged from. In the GFC, I quit my job. I kid you not, I quit my job in the middle of the GFC. People like Birchie, I'd worked my way up in a corporate ladder, one of these corporations that writes with the fluoro logo, right, and all that. Big multinational, right, one of the largest global companies that are out there, propaganda outlet actually. Used to work in media back in the day. And I quit a job of 100 grand. I'd worked my way to get a 100 grand job, and the GFC created that opportunity. So, there is good and bad from that. Dan says, I wish I was following you before I bought my most recent property. Sorry, Dan. Been doing this for 14 years now. 14 years ago, I set up my YouTube channel, actually. And but it's never too late, and, reach out, have a chat with the team. There's a link in the comment section, wherever it is on here. Have a free chat, speak to the team, see what options there are, and go from there. Steve says, time to get in touch with you. I'm always here, ready to go. Ryan says, Macquarie Bank dropped their 3, 4 and 5 year fixed rates. First bank to do so, all under 6%. Exactly, right? Because they dropped their premium loaded rates because they are going to make a hedge on it, because they know that rates are going to fall down. They trap you for 3, 4 and 5 years. Your loan is more valuable to them at that point, and they can go and get more debt to feed it up at a cheaper rate. They know their game, and that's how they build their spread into it. They also keep you trapped with them for 3, 4, 5 years into that deal, because you've got a fixed rate. If you want to get out of that fixed rate, well, then you've got to pay a break fee. You've got to pay all the penalty on that, so you just stay there. David says here, what is the typical rent you'd expect on a 200 grand property? 320, 350 bucks a week, probably around that. Josh said, Steve, you will not regret it. Thank you, Josh. Josh have helped out as well. Steve says, I used a different company. It sounds like that it's a brand new off the plan. Like when a company sells you a property that's off the plan, to have a slick sales pitch. I've got a bloody hoodie on, swearing with the Gold Coast, got a rat's tail. Like, I say it as it is. These companies have these like little glossy brochures and PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that. When they sell you an off the plan property is a brand new property. There's all this fat built in. The salesperson, they're no different than a salesperson. They're getting paid like a $50,000 commission, a $30,000 commission. I got one today, $50,000. If I sell their properties, I get $50,000. So I could instantly go to you guys, hey, I've got some properties, you guys trust me, and go, here, buy this thing here, you get a 50 grand commission for it. After a month, might go past, and in another 6 months, you guys will come back and hate me and be like, Birchie, why do you sell me these things? A piece of dog shit. You probably sold me that before you even bought the thing, because it's obvious that they're dog shit. But these developers, get big kickbacks for selling things. I see them and I just delete them. I laugh because I'm like, fuck, like all these guys throwing around money like that. But it's bad. So I don't know if they do brand new properties or not. But if they do off the plan properties, just be mindful of that. Dan says, hey Bud, do you do properties through self-managed super fund? Yes. I'd say maybe 15% of the properties that I buy would be for people's self-managed super fund. It's a very good vehicle to do so. It's very heavily regulated. It's very hard. Once again, it's like getting your money out of Commonwealth Bank and buying crypto with it, right? The bank does not want you to do it, right? When you're trying to crack your money out of a super fund, you'll see how dodgy your super fund is when you try and roll over your super fund to a self-managed, because it becomes very difficult to get the money out. It's like, hey, that's my money. Why can't I get access to it? So Luke says, what LVR would I need to have so an additional property doesn't get impacted my borrowing capacity? You can get an additional property if you went to 95% LVR. I don't suggest to go 95% LVR anyone, but I'm just using that as an example. It all comes down to when you go to the bank, they have these calculator tools, right? So just let's explore the banks, right? Let's go in. I could guide you if I was blindfolded and guide you through a bank and tell you how to get through the bank. I believe I could fill the bank like Braille to get there. I've never been in the bank, but I'll tell you how to get the money from the bank. I know what systems they use just by so much data, stacking that data and seeing the results that come out from that data over and over again. But how the banks work is that they will take all your income, right? So let's just make up an example: 100 grand income, and you got, I don't know, 500 grand debt, right? So they'll go, well, you've got a 20%, income to pay for your debt, whatever. They have a calculation on that. But then if you've got 500 grand debt and you got 2 rents coming through at 250 a piece, 250 grand a loan, and you got $300 or $400 a week, well, you got $300, that's $600, that's 30 grand a year. 30 grand goes onto your income column, so you've got 100 plus 30. They'll only take about 80%. It depends on the bank and their calculators. Each bank's calculator is different of how they calculate your servicing and allow you to borrow money. That's why one bank will not get someone to a 10, 15, 20 plus property portfolio. You're going to need multiple different banks throughout that process. But yeah, they'll take your current income, then they'll take your rental income, have your debt over here, the servicing of that debt, the interest rate of the debt, how the debt is structured, whether it's principal interest, interest only, how long's left on the interest only period, etc. And then they'll allow you to borrow based on that. So it doesn't matter about the LVR, it depends on the cash flow coming through. Hey Nathan, what do you think of Perth? Look, I'm very invested there. I've got an office in Western Australia. I'm pointing like, hey, it's over there. The East Coast is literally one street away, and the West Coast is right over there. I've got an office in Perth CBD. Postcode is 6,000. I've been invested in that market for quite a while. People don't realise that, but I was buying up, right? Just like I buy up in markets now. I think that there's still opportunity over there, but in a lot of areas, houses, thing of the past over there. Like I was buying houses for 200 grand in Perth Metro. Now they're all 450, 500, rents are 600 a week. It just doesn't stack up. But there is some specific pockets there, and there's lots of other locations where the numbers stack up. Steve, I'd like to pull money from my Perth house and go again. Can I refinance on a 7-month ago loan I got fixed? It depends. Depends if you service with the bank. It depends if you can pull out equity. So if you fix a loan 7 months ago, interest rates have gone up, so they won't have a break fee if you want to refinance into another bank. It's not a question for me to answer because I'm not a broker and I'm not licensed to give you that advice. However, best to speak to Zinger Finance. If you flick us a message or click on the link in the description and just have a chat with my team, they can put you in contact with finance and give you the best way forward with it. But yes, you can do that. If your loan is stuck and it is fixed and you can't get out for whatever reason, well then you can do a thing called a top-up loan with that lender. So you have, like, let's say it's a 200 grand loan and the property's worth, I don't know, 500 grand, you want to pull out 100 grand equity, you can just get a second loan and attach it to it, so it's got a 200 grand loan that's fixed, and get the 100 grand loan separate to that and pull out that equity. But you can also just cancel the fixed term and refinance it out. If the interest rates dropped below that level, you wouldn't have the ability to do so. So there's probably actually something very important in itself. A little tip for all the people who got scared and fixed their interest rates. If you fixed your interest rate and it's gone up, and you start seeing the interest rates come down, you're like, shit, I've really messed up. You've got a window before the interest rate gets to that level to get out and break that if you wanted to. You'd have to speak to your broker, and it's no financial advice, but if someone wanted to, once it goes under that loan, then you've got to pay the difference that the loan would be for the duration of that loan of the difference of that rate, which would be called a break fee. Could be 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand. And a lot of people don't realise when they fix their interest rates that you can't even sell the property because you'd have to break the loan, and then you'd have to pay that break fee as well if you sold it. So it's just something to be mindful of when doing that. Nathan Eshe, I use them as well and feel as though I got screwed over. I don't think I heard of them. There's so many experts out there and stuff like that, so I don't know. So I wouldn't like to comment. I've got a 320 grand loan, house valued at 450. Will I be able to get 2 more from you? You'll probably be able to get 1, maybe 2. Yeah, definitely possible. Just depending on those valuations and all that sort of stuff. Have a chat with Zinger Finance. They'll be able to direct you in the right place. If you're new around here, I have my team from Zinger sometimes. I have different guests that come and join me. Last week I had a property manager. When I get back, I've actually got Rose Renouf lined up, who's been my personal broker for 20 years. Long time, folks, long time. But I'll have Rose on when I'm back. It's like maybe in a month or something. I don't know. I'm just going to keep. I just want to go out and visit the country we live in. So and enjoy 5-star resorts that I get to stay at for half price. Because I've got good deals where I get half price of things. Never pay full price for anything. Is there a limit to how many properties you can buy if you are strategic? No, I've seen people get to, on average, I might invest in probably 15 to 25 properties in their portfolio where they sort of tap out of it. Some investors have got one that just got to 40 last week. He wants to get to 50 by the end of next year. I only started with him 3 years ago, not even 2.5 years ago. I've got other people that have got, the biggest I've got someone is to about 100. Obviously my portfolio, but I'm not here to flex and brag and all that sort of stuff. Danny says, hey mate, I'll get back to you as now have 3 because of you and just revaluing again, see how we can get another one. Keep up the good work. Hope you're doing well, Danny. Your rents need to go up. I know that some of your rents need to go up, mate. So send me an email of what your current rents are across the properties, because I know that we can get some more cash flow from your rents. Just I remember everyone's portfolio and all their properties. So let's have a look at that and we'll go from there. What do we got here? Mo, hey, Birch Townsville, purchased 6 month break, saying it's still a country price because I wonder if Zinger can ask for a revaluation even though I haven't worked with them. Yeah, we can get that. When we buy a block of units, sometimes it falls under commercial lending depending on how your bank has structured it. Buying a block of units and it's like 150 grand a unit. Each unit in there, big bus downstairs going off now, would be worth sort of 200 grand level. So give that somewhere to work from. Andrew says, what would the split of properties you find? Houses, unit with land, or a unit and a high rise, no land? That's a good question. What goes up more? What is better, a house or a land or a unit or a villa or whatever? They all have their place. I only use the Gold Coast as an example here. I'd spread it up. I'd have units, houses, townhouses, villas, whatever. Let's say you buy in Sydney or Brisbane, you have a land tax free threshold. So if we were to have, I don't have a whiteboard here, I've got a 20-story drop down there, but we should have a little whiteboard here to go. Right? But if we look at land tax, right? So if you have a plus or a minus, what's the positive, what's the negative? There's pros and cons to houses, units, villas, townhouses, blocks of units. You buy a block of units, it's less liquid. It can be a bit harder to get the equity out of. The loan structure, if there's too many units, it could fall under a commercial loan, so you're paying higher interest rates and stuff like that. If you need to sell one, you have to sell the whole thing. So that's one aspect there. If you buy a house on land, you've got to pay building insurance, you've got to pay land tax, and all those sorts of things. You buy a unit, you've got to pay strata fees, but you might pay 2 or 3 grand strata fees. But if you bought the house, you'd have to pay building insurance. So the building insurance is covered inside of the strata fee. But if you're paying 500 grand for a house, or you're paying 200 grand for a unit, you could have 2.5 units versus one house, right? So when you're looking at the cash flow for what the bank needs, then the unit income would be double what the house would be, because the house might buy it for 500, might rent for 500, but you might buy 2 or 3 units and rent for 350 a week or 400 a week each, so you might get 1,000 or 1,200 a week. So there's pros and cons to each and every one. A lot of people think that that a house is better, but I beg to differ. And I look here in the lovely Gold Coast. Looking back, I bought like 50 properties at least a month, right? 50 a month, right? Let's just put it out there. 50 a month from Tweed, stayed at Kingscliff the other day, lovely. Tweed all the way to, say, the Sunshine Coast. Right? I'll be there shortly. See you in a couple of days, folks. But as I look at that, I used to buy like 50 a month, right? That's like 600 a year. That's like thousands, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000 properties across here. And the houses that I was picking up for 500 are worth 900. The units I was picking up for 200 are now worth 550, 600. What goes up better? You never know. This is why you need a mixture of all of them. Birchie, are you at the Southport apartment block you bought from the distressed developer 10 years back? No. I was actually looking at that. It's probably like 15 minutes. My office is near there. It's further up there. I'm just in, weirdos all downstairs trying to, Birch is here. I'm in Broadbeach at the moment. So, in Broadbeach and, not in Southport. So, Matt says here, love that you know all your clients by name and oversee the properties. Birchie, great work. So pumped to go again. My pleasure, Matt. I actually need to reach out to you, so it's good that you're watching, and I do a little shout out and give you a bit of an update. There's a deal that we have, you know which one it is, which the owner that was selling it, we got it off market, got a cash offer from somewhere else, and there was more money, and they took it. So I'm working on getting you a replacement one there. Here we go. Patrick, I'll bet you on Broadbeach. I'll buy you a coffee tomorrow, bro, or a beer. I don't drink beer, don't drink coffee, but I appreciate it. I've got a pretty jam-packed schedule. I saw someone else at Views. I was down at the coffee shop the other day. There was like a cafe, organic. I was getting some food and a juice, and someone did a shout out and came over and said hi. So thanks a lot for that. But I might see you around town. So on that note, guys, that was the last comment that I've got for today. It's getting late. I need to open my laptop, do some more deals, and make you guys millions of dollars. So on that note, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for trusting me with helping you with your portfolios. Thanks a lot for having me as your viewing, whether it's on a Tuesday night or Wednesday or Thursday, wherever you're watching me from and seeing me. We'll catch up shortly. I'll keep these videos rolling as I'm traveling around, and I might make some videos on the road, just time permitting, maybe some videos of some properties and some deals and stuff like that whilst I'm out and about. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll catch up soon, and have a great week. Bye for now.